Excited young cricketers from Zimbabwe finally made their way down those famous old steps just after midday when the rain relented. For Marcus Trescothick, who was immediately pitted against them after Streak won the toss and chose to bowl, it was a boundary as usual from the off. They're the teams. Debuts for England from Anthony McGrath and James Anderson. Lots of new names in the Zimbabwe team, not least Tatenda Taibu, a gifted young wicketkeeper who will bat at number 5. And Taibu was immediately spread-eagled in an attempt to simply stop the lavishly moving ball. There was food for thought on the first morning, wherever you looked.
Just have to adjust his mindset a little bit, Michael Vaughan. He was so aggressive in the winter. That kind of ball in the winter in Australian conditions, he'd certainly go after and look to hit on the up.
Four runs. Standard deliver from Marcus Trescothick. Short and wide from Blignort and got the treatment.
The odd problem outside the ground and plenty of problems inside the ground. We got a clue from the way that Michael Vaughan, rated, remember, #1 in the world, was struggling to come to terms with, as we mentioned, the moving ball. His stroke play didn't quite function. The swinging ball posed him problems, very different from conditions from those in Australia where he played so beautifully, but he retained his sense of proportion by smiling, and Marcus Trescothick showed that he had his sense of timing back in sync. He played some lovely strokes. They went off at lunch, unbeaten, the pair of them. They're handy.
This delivery still fairly wide, but it was the length that was fuller. If you're not going to bowl straighter, more fuller in length, and that produces an attempted cover drive very close to an outside edge. He streaks last over, and this is showing Hawkeye, just the line that he's bowled, being consistently wide of that off stump, and that's why we're seeing Michael Vaughan being able to let a lot of these deliveries go.
That's even more frustration for Andy Blignell. Now, that's a very good exercise. I can recommend that.
And that's the best we've seen of him so far. Much nearer the sort of things that we saw all winter and all of last summer. A lovely stroke for Henry Olonga to climb into his seat too.
It was an exquisite drive, wasn't it?
That is a disastrous way to go for Michael Vaughan. A freak dismissal. The cricketing gods may just have turned a circle for a second there. And as Vaughan turned his circle, he saw the bails disturbed. Streak is the man who's done the damage. Now, if we just roll it on a couple more frames to there. We've got an area here that we could do with even a bigger circle, but you can see the shaping of the thigh pad is cut out to fit into the top of the pad flap. Protects right down the back of the thigh, that soft flesh there, and that's the bit that the ball has caught. Oh, that's a good stop. They're the hardest because you're blinded by the batsman. Nicely done. It's there to hit, and all the good players will hit them, no question about it, but England's 50 comes up with some style from Mark Butcher.
We see the introduction of Douglas Hondo, bowling from the pavilion end. The right-arm fast medium bowler. He has a knack of taking quick wickets.
Crikey, that's a wonderful cricket shot. Now, he's just had a ball go past his shoulder, and Butcher, unperturbed, is in a perfect position to punch that ball down the ground. Well, that's the danger of someone who's spraying it all over the place and then suddenly gets one in the right position. There's enough movement there to cause Butcher a real problem. Just missing leg stump, says Dave Orchard. Let's have a look. First real LBW call of the day, and horribly close. And Hawkeye tells us an entirely different story from the one chosen by David Orchard.
Heath Street straying onto the leg stump line. Marcus Trescothick not afraid to go aerial.
An imploring Douglas Hondo would have had his second Test match wicket if David Orchard had agreed with Jeff Marsh, who was sitting up on the Zimbabwe team's balcony. That was closer than close. Looked dead to us, but he got away with it. And in response, as so often happens, there were some good strokes from Butcher. It was hard work for both the left-handers, but Trescothick seemed to be enjoying the challenge. It's nice to spend time at the wicket.
That is a beauty. Hondo will have to gather his thoughts and get his feet organised. Another no ball and another boundary. It's a nice round of applause for Marcus Trescothick.
Well, he gave that something. Given that a fantastic crack over cover. Well, it is a quick outfield. Beautifully taken. Class catch. Made it look dead easy. Great to see the ball pitched up and attracting the stroke from Trescothick. It's a lovely bit of cricket from Zimbabwe all round.
This was the ball before the wicket of Marcus Trescothick, which seemed away from him. Didn't carry particularly well to Tendate, but very low. So Heath Street made a big point of telling the keeper and the slips to come forward. Second slip there, Sean at Ervine, and then this was the next delivery. Marcus Trescothick slashing outside off stump, and it's a good job it didn't pop through those hands. He might have had a word with his captain.
Now, if Hussain hasn't been in good touch, Zimbabwe want to make sure that it stays that way. So leg stump half volleys are out of the question.
There's some movement, good sign. Zimbabwe bowling still. That ball willing to move through the air if they get it right. And Henry, that is a positive sign for the bowling so far.
That's prodigious movement, Michael, and Zimbabwean bowlers will be relishing this kind of movement because it's not often that you get this kind of swing and seam movement in Zimbabwe. Yes, if one could be slightly critical, one could say the Zimbabwean bowlers haven't got enough balls in the right area.
Good areas. Fumbled behind the wicket, but that's the area you need to be. He's sticking with this theory of coming around the wicket to the left-hander. Butcher struggled on this occasion.
It's very well bowled. It's actually held its line, angled in towards the batsman, and just hit the seam and gone away. You can see how close was that.
It's again movement. All ends up.
Son, I mightn't be at the top of my game, but when I'm old and grey and my slippers are by the fire, I'll hit those for 4. Hussain seemed to be saying to Douglas Hondo, who was having terrible troubles with no balls, never mind his line. Henry Alonga told us that he was his gym partner. Quite what that had to do with no balls, we weren't sure. You're about to see Douglas Hondo's feet. They weren't the threat to England. It was the size 10s that belonged to Heath Streak. They were the threat.
And it's been put down. Great start from the captain, getting the ball in the right areas, producing a nick. It was angled into the slip, splitting first and second slip, and an attempted juggle, but it went down.
Oh, this is actually a fantastic effort. Got to catch him. He makes a lot of ground to his right in the fingertips, and I think he loses it. Oh, he loses just there. How close was that? That was flying.
Well, if you're going to nick one, you've got to nick it in between first and second slip, or however many slips there are. So Butcher's done well.
That was Zimbabwe when they came out after the break. 138 for 2 England. They needed to huddle, they needed to focus, they needed to get it right because England were getting hold of the game.
Little moment at the end of Douglas Hondo's last over. I'm not sure if he was saying to Nasser that wasn't much of a shot, or if he was saying it wasn't much of a ball.
Twice in the over that Heath Streak has beaten the outside edge. Oh, Butcher gave that the kitchen sink. Trying to slice it over gully or over cover.
That's an absolute cracker. That's gone in on the angle towards Nasser Hussain's pads. Yes, it was. It was a leg spinner. Steve Buckner's not going to be interested in that.
Scramble seam slightly, and then the seam stays up straight, and there's the swing.
That's a very good decision from Steve Buckner. Nasser Hussain has struck his pad with the inside edge of his bat on the way through, so there's a noise, but the ball was quite a distance away from the outside edge of the bat.
Just because it's your 80th Test match, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll get the makeup right. Never mind sunscreen. What Steve Buckner needed was a heavy overcoat, a torch, and plenty of patience. Yep, sure enough, first day of the summer, and the players came off for bad light. Only for 20 minutes or so, 149 for 2 at the time, and Streak and Blicknote, the only men to have managed anything good for Zimbabwe.
Beautiful stroke. Thing to do when you're in a situation where the ball's moving around, conditions in favour of the bowlers, you've got to take advantage all the time of the loose one. Don't get too many from Heath Streak, and that's a lovely stroke. In the air, and got it. First ball from the new bowler. Douglas Hondo's taken the catch. Travis Friend has come on and bowled either a loosener, well, certainly it was a half tracker, but it had a bit of zip behind it, and Douglas Hondo has taken the catch.
Well, Heath Streak, why didn't you introduce Travis Friend earlier? As Hussain leaves for 19, England are 165 for 3.
Very well fielded. Well, they're going to get extra runs for it, but I think it was worth a go. Need to have a look at the side on replay.
His friend won't do himself any favours. Most his bowling figures, but I tell you what, I agree with you, Richie. Worth a go. Could have been out. Just slow that right down to see whether it was touch and go. Guess if you're going to choose 4 runs over a wicket, I'd take the wicket.
Good stop. He is a super fielder, that guy. Big hunter and farmer, Turk mine, about an hour outside Bulawayo. Streaks had their farm abducted. They've got about half of it back, which is splendid news for everybody in Zimbabwe.
Runs all round the wicket for Mark Butcher. Particularly strong just in front of square on the offside.
Another good stop. Good little period for Zimbabwe. Wouldn't say they've got England in shackles, but I'd say that they've made it hard for them to really break away and take full control of the match. .50 for Butcher. Well done. Smashed it. It's just a moment where Abraham thought he had a chance.
Nicely played, just found the gap.
And so it was that the day came to a close at 1 minute to 6 o'clock. 3 lights, and the umpires had another look, and the players said, no, enough is enough. Robert Key and Mark Butcher leaving the field with England 184 for 3. Butcher unbeaten on 52 and Key on 11. That was a thoroughly decent effort from England's batsmen, having been put into bat. The Zimbabwean bowlers found it extremely hard work.
Good positioning by Mark Butcher. Beautiful stroke. Very, very fine line between success and hard yakka for a bowler. It's 195 for 3. The timing was there, and he eased the ball away rather than smashed it through the covers. Yes, Steve Buckner says. For a moment I thought it might have flicked the pad.
He wasn't happy, Robert Key. And the question is, was it the bat that flicked the pad? You can see there that the bat definitely flicks the flap of his back pad. He's got to go for 18. England have lost their 4th wicket.
Snicko in the middle of your screen there shows 2 rather chunky, slabby noises rather than the very long, thin line that indicates a fine edge. So I think some excuse there for Robert Key to look a little bit worried.
Cracking stroke from Butcher. It's the 3rd drive he's unfurled today. One straight down the ground, one through cover, and this one through extra cover.
Now bouncer. He's got the way, perhaps not quite off the middle of the bat, but it's gone to the longer part of the ground, way down towards the edge of the tavern stand.
Oh, very close, nearly a caught and bowled. In the end, it's going to be a couple of runs to Mark Butcher. Friend had been pegging Butcher back with a lot of short balls. That one he threw up, and it didn't look like Butcher got his weight into the shot. Let's have a look. Played from the crease. Hardly a stride into the ball. And as a result, the ball going in the air. Definitely not a slower ball. Those are the deliveries that Travis Friend has bowled to Mark Butcher. The orange balls are the balls that he scored off, but you can see there's a lot of dot balls, a lot of short balls going past around head height. Oh, that swung. That swung. The angle will not be helping Ervine get a decision in his favour. But definite swing.
Dermot, this is the problem with coming around the wicket, isn't it? It has come back. And probably might hit him. Oh, inside edge anyway. I suppose that takes the argument out of it anyway.
Good placement from Butcher. Gone like a rocket. good from Alex Stewart. The black dot is the ball that got the wicket of Nasser Hussain. See, there's only 4 balls that are pitched up on what you'd call a good line and length. The majority are all around this area, which is about halfway down. If you pitch the ball there, it's not going to swing.
Which was one of the reasons that Mark Butcher cruised into the 80s. 12 fours in that innings, and an excellent partnership with Alex Stewart. They know each other so well, of course, playing for Surrey for so long. The partnership at this stage worth 35, and a key to it was the way that they rotated the strike. So Zimbabwe brought on Raymond Price, nephew of Nick Price, the golfer. He showed some flight, some guile and some spin. We saw Tatendu Taibu, and for the first time we also said hello to Claire Connor. Fine bowling and fine fielding. That is the beauty of flight. If one thing is lost in the modern game, it's spin bowlers who rely on flight.
With the ball going above the eye line, obviously Stewart's head or eyes have got to move even a small amount. And that is something that batsmen don't want to have to do. They want to keep as still ahead as possible. From what we've seen so far, there's nothing very dangerous about Price. He's looking to land the ball there or thereabouts, not looking to turn it hugely. But what we've just seen there is perhaps a little anxiety on the batsman's part to get to the ball, to play a few more shots, and perhaps that's how Heath Streak is going to use his spinner.
Amazing bit of timing that was. The ball seemed to get quite big on Butcher, and yet he was standing up tall to initially play a straight bat stroke. A million miles from the fielder. That's a wonderful shot. Just laid his ears back and thrashed it away. The width gave him the chance and he took it. Smash, this is one over cover. Expansive stuff to go to 99 from Mark Butcher.
He's going, and he's home. He waited, and he is happy. No question. This is an excellent knock, a very good 100 indeed. Difficult conditions to bat in, which has had a little bit of luck, but you need that on this kind of surface. But gee, he's played well.
Top innings, Mark Butcher. He really has taken control from the first ball. He had an early let-off with an LB shout that Hawkeye suggested it was going to go on and hit the stumps, but from that moment he's taken control. Very impressive innings. 7th Test 100.
Behind this shout, that's what they're asking. Umpire Orchard is saying yes. All the players were saying yes. And eventually they thought it might be a good idea to ask Umpire Orchard. And he put up his finger.
Well, it was an obvious nick. There was a big sound, just short of a length from Heath Streak, and a bit of extra bounce did for Alex Stewart here on the cut shot. And you can just see it just nipped back and cramped him for room and bounced a touch. And the ace to Tatendu Taibu. And the problem was that the fielders and the bowlers just ran together as though it was so obvious, and they didn't really appeal, and it was only when they appealed and asked the question that umpire Orchard put his finger up. That's the end of Alex Stewart for 26. England 274 for 5.
That's Snicko. Snicko has produced a little beauty.
It was a pretty good delivery to get first up. Streak, really good length and line.
Well fielded, and that's the thing that drives your legs a bit quicker when you're on 0 on your debut, and you've got the opportunity of picking up a quick single.
The relief that he gets his first runs. Certainly eyed up the gap on the offside, and he might well be advised in future to slide the bat in, I think.
Good one. That'll settle him down a bit. Another good one. It's a great strike. Superb shot. The confidence of the man has been evident all day. Wonderful stuff. Oh, classy. Oh, Mark Butcher, you are playing quite brilliantly at present.
There is a man back at deep square leg, but he can only watch. Fetch that. Stand up and deliver from Anthony McGrath. What a catch! Well, well, well. That was stunning. Price has picked up such a valuable wicket, but he owes so much credit to the fielder. The Mullen at mid-wicket has just snared a four.
That is a sensational catch, diving low to his right. That short mid-wicket position has been in play for a lot of Butcher's innings, and it's paid off finally for the Zimbabweans. But a great knock from Butcher.
Would you believe it?
Mullen just a few minutes ago took an absolutely beautiful catch. Straight in and straight out.
Well, it's one of those where you think you've got your hands in the right position, and all of a sudden the ball's on its way down, and you try to adjust, and in the end he finished up squatting with his fingers still pointing to the sky.
Should get a couple of runs here on the leg side. And that takes him to his 50 as well. Anthony McGrath. That's a 50 on debut, and he's still going.
Born in Bradford, brought up in that area, and it's a very, very strong area of cricket in the whole of the United Kingdom.
and got him straight through. Really has cleaned him up on this occasion. It's the end of a fantastic innings from McGrath. Great start for England.
He's missed the line. And Anthony McGrath's innings comes to an end. He departs for 69 with 121 balls. Score is 408 for 7.
And then at around about 5:30, we had some frenetic cricket. First of all, Steve Harmison was the man to follow McGrath, who you just saw out. We saw the odd 6. Then Ashley Giles gets hit. Now that's a very dodgy beamer, and there's a problem there, and there is an apology. Then Ashley Giles goes to 50, so that's a special moment for him. Remember, this all happened in a very short space of time. The crowd were on the edge of their seats as it looked as if they may come off for bad light. They didn't. Hoggard smashed one to cover, having hit some good strokes in an innings of 19. Did it carry or didn't it? Well, the answer was it did, except that happened. Now, the third umpire had actually decided that it was out. Just a little technological glitch along the way. So we had a rethink. And Matthew Hoggard made his way back to the pavilion. Yeah, he quite really asked the umpire what on earth was going on, and you couldn't much blame him. Then Ashley Giles backed away, missed and lost his leg stump. So all in all, none of us quite knew where we were. What we did know was that England had made 472, and that was a very decent effort with the bat, having been put in by Heath Streak yesterday morning. Fine shot. Very, very fine shot. Oh, that's a good stroke as well. Ah, lovely deflection.
Didn't miss by much. That's the kind of length Anderson wants to be bowling. That one cutting back, cutting the batsman in half, as they say. Wasn't far off stump.
Over.
Know much about this, Dean Ibrahim. Looking for maybe some swing from Hoggard, but the ball actually nipped back down the hill. Bowled him. Anderson has struck his first Test match wicket for England, and the end of Mark Vermeulen.
Wonderful ball that may well have angled in and held its line on the line of off stump. Mark Vermeulen may have played inside out on this. Played down the wrong line. Ball didn't do much. Just a straight ball that he's played down the wrong line of. Anderson, first wicket in Test match cricket. Vermeulen departs for 1. Zimbabwe 20 for 1.
Good delivery from Hoggard. Big appeal. Question asked. David Orchard in no doubt at all. Ball came off the pad rather than the bat.
Well, that's a huge shout from everyone who has an England shirt on. Terrific delivery from Hoggard, decking back slightly or kept going on the angle. And for me, that's no doubt that's come off the inside thigh or the top of the pad. There was a hope from the England side that was inside edge, but I don't think so.
Confusion here. Hussain hits. Well, that probably would have been run out. He's going to pick up 4 for it, Dean Ibrahim, but it's 4 fortunate runs.
Hussain, he really did move in nicely, one-handed, gets rid of it quickly. There's no doubt a direct hit, and it would have been out.
Safely taken. Well, Hoggard deserves that. He and Harmson have bowled well this morning, and Hoggard has been the one who's been taking the ball away from the right-handers. Beautifully bowled, a classic dismissal.
Illustrates exactly what Simon Hughes was talking about a moment ago. A ball of full length drew Stuart Carlisle into the stroke, and that's why it took the edge rather than the play and miss. It was safely taken by Marcus Trescothick. An excellent piece of bowling from Matthew Hoggard. Well deserved after his efforts this morning. Stuart Carlisle's gone for 11. Zimbabwe 64 for 2. And that black dot that you can see there is the wicket delivery, and it's the absolute perfect length for Matthew Hoggard.
Well, it's a streaky shot. He used the width over the top, and 4 runs.
A while ago, it was an opener's job to simply see the shine off the ball. Nowadays, we see them looking to dominate.
Well, I think he was trying to let that ball go. He's pierced the gap, and that will bring up a half-century. Ibrahim, he's played very well for Zimbabwe. Came out in a difficult period last night. Always is for an opening batsman coming in late in the day. And his team are appreciating the job he's doing. Catch. And he's been given. Little inside edge or off the glove. Short leg diving forward. 3 wickets fall.
Grant Flower manages to get something on it. Either bat or glove. A little bit of glove. A little bit of glove. Big blow for Zimbabwe.
There is something, just a little flick maybe, before the big full-on thud into the thigh.
Dean Ibrahim once again given room to free his arms.
Nicely played. Great use of the wrist there. Almost subcontinental in the execution of the stroke. That's out. Mark Butcher's done the job, and he's done it because he's pitching the ball up and swinging it. Nice safe catch from Anthony McGrath. Not a bad appeal, first up. Knocked a mile away. Has to pitch on, it can't pitch outside leg stump, and that was what was good about that bit of bowling from Butcher. Good bit of umpiring from Steve Buckner.
And a boundary. Steve Buckner Just give it a little wave of the hand, which will please bowler only minimally. Thought it might have got away with leg byes. Might even have hit Alex Stewart a bit closer to it.
Decided to go just with 2 slips and a gully and the short leg.
Going to be much in that. Probably just missing leg, I would think.
Possibly a touch high too. It was a good length, a full delivery. It's actually just pitched outside leg, hit above the knee roll, just going over the top. Needs to be just a bit fuller, Hoggard. Searching for that LBW.
Yes, no need to worry too much about that. That was quicker. It beat the defensive stroke. Don't know what speed will come up, but certainly it was quicker onto the batsman, hurried him, and another breakthrough for England. I think it's been a very impressive performance from the England bowlers. That's pitched in line, it would have hit middle and leg, and it was about as plumb as you'll get.
Very good bowling from Matthew Hoggard. Half the Zimbabwe side out now. 5 wickets down for only 109. The latest casualty, Sean Ervine, gone for 4. He streaks off the mark, but he was nearly walking back to the pavilion. The inside edge taking the ball just past leg stump. Well, he likes them there. Oh, big half volley outside off stump, just a bit too full from James Anderson. And Taibu showing that he can play a very exquisite looking cover drive.
And the score at lunch didn't bode well for the Zimbabweans. 120 for 5. Only Dion Abraham making any impression on England, who were led by Matthew Hoggard. 3 for 24. They needed a boss for the bowlers. He proved to be the man. Good on him.
It's gone down. Ashley Giles, the culprit at third slip. It went quickly. He's got big hands, Ashley Giles. He's spent a lot of his career fielding in the gully, but he's in the slips now. And Heat Streak has had a life. Oh, just out of reach. Robert Key, the man at short leg. Probably a little bit of bat, judging by the reaction from the England players.
It is the area that Tatenda Taibu would struggle if he was going to struggle anyway. He's a short man. Extra bounce of Harmison.
Just short. Ashley Giles again, the man at third slip. Didn't carry on this occasion, so not a drop. That's good bowling. That's the tempting ball, a little bit slower. definitely fuller and enticing Taibu to try and drive. There's a man back and he's caught it. Good cricket all round. He might have been placed there more for the cut shot or the uppercut, but it was good fielding from Hogarth, because Taibu was aiming on the leg side, and very easy for the fielder to try and look that way and follow where he thinks the ball's going. It came straight to him and he made no mistake. Good catch.
Doesn't he like it when a plan comes together?
Oh, what a jaffer. Heathstreet was aiming to leg. That ball has swung back late and hit bang on middle.
This reminds me of the ball that Anderson bowled at Newlands to dismiss Yusuf Yohana. It swung away. It's oh, wasn't quite a Yorker, but it straightened on Heathstreet.
It did. It swung late. Look at the position of the seam and the shine. It is a good ball, that. A replay of the ball before. It's a golden duck for Travis Friend. Brilliant, brilliant bowling from James Anderson.
My, he's done it again. 2 wickets and 2 balls. He's on a hat-trick, this young man. He can bowl.
Two crackerjack balls in a row from James Anderson. They came at the end of an over that was about 20 minutes or so after lunch, and any player from any age would have had a problem coping with those. Hawkeye tells us just how much they did swing. Sometimes when the ball just holds up, you don't get an impression of much movement, but that is plenty of movement, I can tell you. Lovely stuff, perfectly pitched, you see, catching the batsman on the crease. He really does have a lovely natural talent for the game. Now then, Steve Harmison bowled an over before all of a sudden Mr. Anderson was on a hat-trick.
Oh, Alex Stewart went to throw the ball up just to dummy the crowd. It wasn't too far away from the outside edge.
What a wonderful catch. For a lot of reasons that we'll examine in the replays, that was very well taken from Butcher, who's having a super game. Andy Blicknott has no chance to show us what he's capable of, but James Anderson surely is. And that is that. What a sight at the 5-wicket haul for James Anderson. He will receive the cuddle from everybody in sight, because he is a star in the making. Wonderful cricketing performance from England today, who have looked the business as they did with the bat earlier in the game, and thousands upon thousands will stand to applaud a boy who impressed in the winter and has already begun to fulfill the early impressions.
Pfeiffer, and you know what? His name goes on the honours board in his first Test match here at Lord's, and that is all ends up. Terrific shape in that delivery. perfect shape, in fact. Just moving enough. Beats the outside edge, but doesn't beat the off stump. The close of the Zimbabwean first innings.
They'll be rocking in the aisles in Burnley right now, because a year ago he was playing club cricket for them.
Oh, he's taken it, claiming it. It's out. They've taken the first wicket in this second innings. Another diving catch low from Robert Key. We saw one similar in the first innings. And Ibrahim departs for 6. Palmerston making the breakthrough.
Well, this was a cracking good catch from Robert Key. He's pretty square at forward short leg. And just see the ball just deflecting off the bottom glove of Dean Ibrahim, and Robert Key flinging himself away to the right. One-handed, good low catch. Making that position his own today, Robert Key.
There then followed an extended period of cat and mouse, during which time Mark Vermeulen played some pleasant cover drives and cuts and put on 64 with Stuart Carlisle. England tried spin in the form of Ashley Giles, and there was a touch of spin there, but Zimbabwe reached tea 75 for 1, still trailing by 250 runs. It didn't look good for them. From a bright book, apparently, to a boring book, apparently. That's what 355 test wickets did for Mr. Lilly, and there's a full head of hair under that hat for the moment.
$50 for Vermeulen. Very good innings from him. It's only 81 on the board now, and he's made 52 of them, 6 boundaries. Now there is some brilliant captaincy on show. Question marks always raised when you bring on a part-timer. The part-timer has got the away swinger to find the outside edge, and Trescothick has just taken it in his stride.
Well, he's done it again. He did it in the first innings to dismiss the in-batsman, Dean Ibrahim. He's done it again to dismiss Mark Vermeulen.
Out. That's the change. That's the inducker. I haven't seen him bowl it too much. It's a case of, would it have hit the stumps? Yes, it's come back. It's hit him middle and off, even though part of his leg was outside the off stump. He's been defeated by some deceptive bowling there from Mark Butcher.
At around about 5:30, Nasser Hussain opted to give Anthony McGrath the chance to make his test debut even better than it had previously been. One close LBW shout, and then this. That's out. Oh, well. Anthony McGrath is having a test match to remember. It's his first. It won't be his last.
Once again, we see a Zimbabwean batsman being drawn onto the front foot by a medium pacer. This time it was McGrath drawing Taibu onto the front foot. Caught by Butcher. And he's having a wonderful, wonderful game.
Hey, he's just scored at Ellen Road. No, he hasn't. He's just taken a wicket at Lord's. Another one. You cannot underestimate them. And Ervine has had a miserable game, I'm afraid to report. Marcus Trescothick has taken a nice catch. And England are free and easy with things.
Wonderful piece of bowling again, drawing him onto the front foot. Trescothick can't keep him out the action either.
Well, oh yes, Anthony McGrath has done it again.
I wondered when we were going to have a look at him. The papers had said he was a bowler. Haven't seen much of him until today. McGrath has picked up his third.
Zimbabwe, oh dear, 150 for 6. But there is very rarely pleasure without pain. And with a side strain, Anthony McGrath had to leave the field. There is no such thing as good umpiring without experience. Everybody thought that had brushed the battle glove of Grant Flower. Not so. Steve Buckner got it right. It was the midriff. There was plenty of fun. Most of it had by Mark Butcher. And the odd moment for Zimbabwe to rejoice in, but I do mean the odd moment. There was Hawkeye. And there was more good umpiring, because though it would have hit the stumps, it had also hit Grant Flower's bat. It was all going off at headquarters.
And that is 7 down. It was rather an extravagant stroke for the circumstances. Not a one-handed shot, but more or less a one-footed shot where he rocked from one to the other. Quite extravagant.
Gone. Safe hands of Marcus Trescothick at first slip. And another wicket for Stephen Harmison.
Grant Flower, he was the man that probably expect to be not out at the end of the day, but a difficult time to bat when you see wickets falling all around you. Couldn't help himself to the fuller delivery. Smart bowling on this occasion. Helped it to Trescothick, makes no mistake.
I don't think that was deliberate. I think Stephen Harmison turned blind there and was shying at the stumps. He apologised straight away. It's in the air. Oh, it's dropped him. The man in that fourth slip position. It was a difficult catch. That's a really good stroke. He threw it right up. He encouraged the big shot, induced the edge, and for the second time the England captain has put down a slip catch. It's in the air, and it's come off short leg. It's ballooned in the air to Marcus Trescothick, and it's a moment of good fortune for England.
Well, it's come about because Price all of a sudden was lifting the head and trying to play some almighty shots. It's given England the chance. Good bowling from Giles. Smart bowling. It's ricocheted off Key at short leg, straight to Trescothick. And a little bit of luck back England's way.
It's in the air. Stephen Harmison is at mid-on, but it's gone way over his head. It's gone way over the boundary rope. And Steve Buckner signals a mighty six. And an edge and gone. Ashley Giles has taken the catch safely. Zimbabwe all out for 233, and England have won the Test match. In 3 days, a victory by 92, an innings and 92 runs.
A case of sparring early on. England won the toss. They chose to bat first. Let's say that the cricket wasn't sparkling, just sparring stuff. A little chance went down, a tough one to Stuart Carlisle, Michael Vaughan, the beneficiary. If we talk about Marcus Trescothick early in innings, we talk about footwork and sometimes the lack of it, because he loves the ball to come to him. He hates to go chasing it. So some balls he played quietly and others went by his inside and outside edge. Then there was a good strike or two and a good stop or two to match it. These were two sides jostling for position on the first morning of a Test match. After half an hour, Michael Vaughan got off the mark with that stroke. Have a look at that list. That is Test matches in England with the players in their position. So, for example, opening, Michael Vaughan averages 82.5, which is more than anybody else opening in England. Look at Mark Butcher and Peter May. What marvellous performances with the amount of runs that they've made. So we're ready. Here we go.
In the air, but over the top. That'll run away for 4. Interesting shot, actually, and I wonder whether the ball just held up off the pitch. But the reason he's got away with it, he was committed to the stroke, 100%. This one in the air, and 4 again. The fielder at point. Ibrahim diving forward. Possibility of a catch, but it yorks him straight through the legs.
Hit this very hard, and Dion Ibrahim at backward point nearly swallowed it, and I mean literally.
And that has been crunched through the offside. Played with so much authority there from Vaughan. On his toes, over the top of it, through the gap.
Third boundary in the over. This was a gift for Michael Vaughan, short enough, and the pitch is slow. Plenty of time to rock back and pick your place.
Ooh, that one going the other way. Smart bowling. A little bit of a chat to Michael Vaughan, just telling him he can bowl the in-swing as well. But that's out. Great bowling from Heath Streak. He just controlled the ball, getting it in the right areas, ball after ball. Bit of a change-up a couple of deliveries ago with the in-swinger, but this one just holding its line, caught first slip.
Fine bowling and a good catch. Sean Ervine, the man at first slip. Michael Vaughan looking to force off the back foot. The ball just a little bit wide. The outside edge, and gleefully accepted. England have lost their first wicket. Michael Vaughan, one of their champions, out for 20.
It's a measure of Mark Butcher's confidence.
Come on, fellas, do down here. Come on. What a press on these fellas. Come on.
Class. The old version of Marcus Trescothick. There's no shyness to get after the bowling.
Just in two minds for a moment there, Mark Butcher. Half thought about going after that wide delivery from Heath Street, but there is plenty of cover. Square on the offside for Butcher. There's a gully just behind square. Kind of shortish square point. Andy and Ibrahim was quite deep, so there's plenty of cover there should Butcher hit the ball in the air. And they should have learnt after his innings at Lords that that area is Butcher's particularly strong area. Good delivery, really good delivery that from Heath Street. Ball before just darted back in at Butcher, swung late, and this one just angling across the left-hander. He just puts a little bit of off-cut on the action, the ball with a wobble seam.
Don Robson, who was chairman here in the days when the whole thing was being built, driving force behind the vision that Durham cricket held for so long and have now achieved. Also the Calla brothers, Roy and Ian Calla. That is Ian Calla on the right there, with on the right of those two gentlemen standing. He was the first president of Durham Cricket Club. It was the Calla brothers who started the Jesmond Cricket Festival and got all the great players performing up here in the northeast.
Yeah.
Beauty. Gem of a stroke from Marcus Trescothick.
Really pleasing stroke this from Trescothick. The last minute he just opened the blade slightly there.
We're going to see spin for the first time today. Ray Price, who didn't disappoint at Lords. I wouldn't say he was a great ripper of the ball, but he had some nice flight. The England player didn't seem to find it that easy to come down the pitch to him. It's nicely bowled. Butcher will get 2 for it, but Zimbabwe will get hope from it.
Just a bit unlucky here, Ray Price, that the ball didn't bob up to short leg. It was definite inside edge, could have easily just dropped in the air.
Just to reflect on what Mark Butcher did at Lords, I suppose you could say he's a bit unlucky to be dismissed by Ray Price, the left-arm spinner, but it was a great catch. Butcher just about got it where he wanted, through that little area there at short mid-wicket, and a brilliant catch by Vermeulen. Well, that's not far away. It's a question of LBW. Wasn't catch. Catch was an afterthought as far as the fielders were concerned and the bowler, but couldn't have been very far away from LBW. So it was a quicker delivery, misjudged by the batsman.
Go, Teddy! You're in!
Good throw from Douglas Hondo, and the batsman would have been struggling. Batsman had to be very careful to see where the ball had gone.
Trescothick's on the treadmill at this stage. A direct hit, and it was all over for him. Feel there's something going to happen here. These contests between Price and Butcher, and that ball nearly rolling back onto the stumps.
There's no shortage of incident when the left-arm spinner's on.
one thing missing from an interesting first morning at the Riverside was short pitches, but when Travis Friend came on, we saw a few, as we did at Lord's. We also saw good strokes from Mark Butcher, who had only a problem with Ray Price and nobody else, because he is supremely confident at present. The footwork is good, the head is nice and still, and therefore everything is smooth and easy for a batsman somewhere near his very, very best. The Zimbabwe bowlers through the morning, he streaked, far and away the best of them, though very promising signs from Ray Price. The England batsman just getting in, one of those where you could conceivably make hay were it to be your day. We'll find out more about that in a moment.
It's gone over the top, it's in the air. There's a man underneath it. Oh, it's a brilliant effort. And it's just cleared the rope by 3 or 4 metres or so.
He did well to judge this, did Sean Ervine. He knew he was close to the boundary, but it was always going for 6. Marcus Trescothick not quite there, but followed through anyway. So even if he'd caught that, it would always have been 6. In the middle of your screens is Paul Strang, former Test player.
Oh. Marcus Trescothick played that with such soft hands that the ball just rolled back and must have been only inches away from the off stump.
Well, the partnership between Streak and Price certainly causing things to start to happen.
Big appeal, and he's been given. Darrell Hare has raised the finger, and that's a well-deserved reward for Raymond Price. A good spell of left-arm spin bowling, and it's the end of Marcus Trescothick.
Zimbabwean batsmen have been applying pressure for the last 2 overs, last 3 overs. This is a really good catch by Tatenda Taibu. He would have been unsighted for a large part of this delivery, and it was from the bottom of the gloves.
Well, it's an excellent decision from Darrell Hare, because the ball hit the pad at first, and it was only when it popped up off the pad, came off the glove, and the end of Marcus Trescothick for 43. England 109 for 2. Big shout from Heath Streak. Ball pitching round about leg stump, and a good indication there that there's a little bit of inside edge from Butcher. It's marginal whether the ball pitched in line anyway, and the thinnest inside edge, which gives Butcher the benefit of the doubt.
Close. Oh, well. You do feel that Heath Streak deserves something here. Well, if there isn't an inside edge, which you'd have to say there isn't, it's very close. Let's see where the ball pitched. Pitches in line between wicket and wicket and hits him between wicket and wicket. A nice little period of cricket here, particularly since lunch, where Zimbabwe have turned the screws on England. Ray Price has been steady and offered plenty of flight with his left-arm spin, and Streak has been somewhere near his modern best. He was a quicker bowler than this 3 years ago when he was in England, and 5 or 6 years ago he was a very lively place. Now he's just above medium, but still hits the bat hard. Gets the ball to swing around enough and is persistent as you like.
there's a big shout. It slid on. That was the arm ball, pushed through a little quicker. Hussain got himself into an awful position. There it is, the seam up. Going straight on. Wasn't picked by Nasser Hussain. Awfully close. He really doesn't look comfortable at the moment. Often it's hard to come out, face spin first up. This one slides on. Beautiful arm ball, possibly just outside off stump.
One of the great things about a day of Test match cricket is the vignettes, the plays within the play. And there surely was one between Ray Price and Nasser Hussain. Hussein's response was to come down the pitch and bunt him out of the ground, once cleanly and once for 4 not so cleanly. And Ray Price's response was to glare and grunt and groan. Hussain has levelled out as a Test match cricketer. The graph there shows that clearly, but he is on the brink of a monumental 5,000 runs. Here's the analyst.
This is an important innings for Nasser Hussain. His highest score in first-class cricket this year is only 26, and this could be his last innings for England until the South African series in 6 weeks' time, because he's not playing in the one-day series that follows this Test match. You can see a little bit of tension in his face, knowing he's got to get a good score today to make an impact, and it's been a good duel between him and Ray Price early on. Price just varying his pace a little bit, and with a few men round the bat, you can just see Hussain almost desperate to try and get off the mark. His footwork's a little bit jittery. The bowler's just teasing him a little bit, varying his pace. That one just flicking Hussain's glove as he prodded forward. And then nearly an LBW. He didn't read the arm ball very well, and then eventually Hussain does get off the mark with a slightly mishit shot over mid-on that went to the boundary. But it was a few minutes on naught for him, and he just breathes a sigh of relief and feels that now he can carry on playing and try and play a normal innings. Compare that with the more relaxed demeanour of Mark Butcher at the other end, averaging 113 in tests in 2003, and there's a sort of phlegmatic, easy grace to even his defensive shots. Very soft hands in defence, and look at this beautiful off drive here on the up, just letting his hands flow through the ball. And even when things don't go quite to plan, when you're confident, you can just, well, shrug your shoulders and smile and carry on.
That's nice placement. It's running away for 4 as well. Not easy to time the ball on the up. That wasn't a half volley, not by any means. It's a sign of a man in really good touch.
Seen all that much loose stuff from Ray Price today, but that was precisely what Nasser would have wanted, just to get him started after the drinks.
I believe there's the wrong balance in this Zimbabwe lineup. If you have a look, there's 6 bowlers, from Sean Ervine down to Douglas Hondo, and all 6 were used before lunch, and that's really just too much choice, and a bowler doesn't get enough of a spell to get into a rhythm. I think Douglas Hondo is lucky to be playing, and there should be another batsman playing for Zimbabwe. If someone was going in at number 5, be in front of Tatenda Taibu, they would be a better balanced side.
Well, that was likely to be of interest to the first slip man, had it not been intercepted by Nasser Hussain's body. dragged on. Inside edge, and Douglas Hondo has picked up a wicket. Started in scratchy fashion again with no balls, but he's got the breakthrough for Zimbabwe.
So important on a slow wicket that you remain patient as a batsman. And Mark Butcher just being a bit too extravagant, trying to force the ball through the offside. It did come back a little, and then cannoned off the inside edge. Douglas Hondo celebrates. Butcher gone for 47. England 146 for 3.
It was one of those which was the LBW appeal first, and then it switched to being an appeal for a catch. Robert Key was unmoved, so was umpire Hare.
I think Robert Key may be fortunate. There was a big sound. Perhaps a bit of inside edge afterwards. There's the pad first. Just clipping the bails. But in the end, Zimbabwe all went up for the catch. It's a slower ball, the off break. No inside edge.
Well, that's really well timed off the back foot, and that's gone for 4. Good start for Key. And that brings up 150 for England also. Well, it's just carried. Key's standing his ground. Gone for the pull shot, but from a player reaction point of view, the catch has been taken. But he's not going to go. Key not convinced that that ball carried to the fielder. He would have followed it eagerly as soon as it came off the bat. Grant Flower it was diving forward. And for me, it's always the player reaction that's the true indication of where the catch has been taken. They've called for the third umpire, which is disappointing. We say it over and over again in this box that what I think should happen in this situation is Key should go to Grant Flower and say, are you 100% sure you caught it? And if Grant Flower says yes, then he should be marching back to the pavilion. What's it going to be? And he's been given.
Robert Key departs for 4.
Well, he started in terrible form today. He was all over the shop. He really couldn't get it on the straight. But now those figures looked half respectable. 2 for 21. Oh, that's gone too. Caught behind. Hondo's on fire. He's really sorted his bowling out. He's got the lines right. Nasser Hussain was never really convincing today. Slight outside edge, and he's walking off as well.
Well, it didn't start off well today for Douglas Hondo, but in the space of an over and a bit, it's all changed for him. Good line, good length, slight away movement, if anything. Celebrations for the Zimbabweans. Nasser Hussain departs for 18. England are 156 for 5.
Straight through the covers there, Alex Stewart. He's not going to let these wickets falling stop his natural game, and that is one of aggression and stroke play.
Well, it was a gift. It was full, it was wide. Alex Stewart had the freedom to free his arms.
That one worked uppishly through the onside. And I think we'll see the pace of the outfield carry it to the rope. Beautifully timed. Price starting to really get some turn here on day 2.
Beautiful seam position there for the spinner. We talk about it for the pacemen, but it's important for the spinners as well.
And we didn't really see him beat the bat of the right-handers yesterday. But as soon as you get a couple past, it puts a doubt in the mind of the batsman. They're less inclined to come down the pitch at you. Well, here we go. This ball really starting to turn.
Yes, just like stump, I reckon. It was slightly quicker delivery. That's the trademark stroke away through mid-wicket for Alex Stewart. Just seemed to me that it all held its own after hitting the pitch. I think we might say that was probably a good decision.
And once again, a good length from Heath Streak. The previous over, he'd bowled a series of deliveries in that area to McGrath, and he'd played them from the crease as well. Exactly what Alex Stewart did on this occasion, and it's cost him his wicket. He's gone for 68, 305 for 6. Dismissal of Alex Stewart. This is a terrific shot of his footwork. And then we see him getting caught on the crease. Never really moved a lot from his initial movement. Ashley Giles has had to put the paper down. He's now in the middle. Start of the English tail. Giles is quite handy with the bat.
Fielding again, have to be quick. Chance of throwing down the stumps at the bowler's end.
Well, this Zimbabwean fielding continues to impress. Good effort there at cover. Blignott comes in, and I think he threw to the wrong end. A direct hit at the bowler's end. Chance of a run out.
Oh! Class bowling. He's good, this fellow, and it's all because he's got a bit of flight. He's getting the ball up in the air and allowing it to spin, and that's posing all sorts of problems, such as rash strokes like that.
Michael Vaughan there. He missed out on his breakfast, and he might bowl some finger spin for England later on. I saw him before the start of play. He bowled a lot of practice deliveries on the edge of the square. He won't have done much bowling for Yorkshire so far this season, but he may well be needed by Hussain.
Rodney Hogg, who's the bowling coach for the Zimbabwe side. Good man, good coach. Shane Warne reckons he's the best. Very strong bowler, very combative character. Actually made his name when England were there in 1978, and a lot of the Aussies were away with World Series cricket. Hogg burst onto the scene against Mike Brearley's touring side, tormented Geoffrey Boycott, who had a very difficult tour, and moved from strength to strength.
An indication of how difficult things have been for England at the start of this morning session and how well Zimbabwe have bowled.
He's bowled really well this morning, Heath Street, not just because he's been accurate and persistent, but because there's always been enough movement to make the batsman uncertain, and that was an example of it. The stroke was late, which isn't a bad thing against the swinging ball.
They're shouting, big appeal, and up goes the finger. If there was an edge, it must have been a very thin one. There was hardly a deflection. Blignaut has struck, and a good wicket. Unfortunately for Anthony McGrath, hasn't gone on and reached 3 figures, but it's been a very fine innings. 81 he's made, but he will rue this shot. Yes, definitely a little tickle. And Tatenda Taibu safely catches the ball. Followed up his half-century at Lords with a very fine 81 here at the Riverside.
Anthony McGrath has shown a penchant for leg-side play in his short Test career, and he showed it yesterday when the Zimbabwe bowlers strayed onto his pads, working the ball cleverly through the leg side. Today, they've adjusted their line, particularly Heath Street, concentrating around the off-stump and just outside the off-stump. He looks a little bit less certain in that area. That's where Streak has bowled this morning, consistently in that what we call the corridor of uncertainty, just outside off-stump. And in fact, in the end, Andy Blignaut followed suit, bowling that sort of line and making McGrath make that slightly over-ambitious shot outside off-stump. He's gone for 80, but he's certainly made an auspicious entry into Test cricket.
Be a nervous moment for the young man.
Arnoldus Mauritius Blignaut. Some of you may think he's called Andy, but that's just a shortened version of Arnoldus, not Andrew. How about that for a tongue twister?
Off the mark, first ball in Test cricket with the boundary. You will find if he spends any time at the crease, Richard Johnson, that he is a very positive batsman. Loves going for his shots and does hit the ball hard.
Not a bad ploy to suss out a batsman, but that's far too full from Blignaut. Close shout, probably just outside off stump. Umpire Darrell Hay not interested.
Batsman's playing a shot that is pretty safe because the ball will strike you just outside the line of off stump, as is the case there. Ball straight down the ground. That is a high-quality shot.
Short and dealt with. Johnson waited for that, it was short. Wasn't scared to go aerial. Well, he's done it again. Third boundary in the over. Got Heath Street thinking. This time over pitched by Raymond Price, a bit of width as well. Ah, he does give it a belt.
Where's this one going? down the ground and straight to the hands of Heath Streak at mid-on. He pushed himself a little straighter. Johnson picked him out.
Disappointment for Richard Johnson. Things had been going so well. Just didn't quite get hold of this one.
Johnson played some cracking shots, and this one just not quite out of the middle. Very close to getting a bigger piece of it, and that would have sailed over the head of Heath Streak. It just didn't quite catch the middle of the bat.
The end of Richard Johnson's debut innings, an attractive 24.
But he's off the mark, and the crowd appreciate the local boy scoring a run.
Fantastic stroke. Just gave himself a little bit of room to hit that over extra cover. He picked his gap very deliberately.
Gee, that's a good shot. Definite stroke of a batsman. I mean, when he came out to bat, I was on and called that the tail was coming in for England, but he's not batting like that.
Oh, that's a good delivery.
I imagine he'd be fairly difficult to face, because you'd be lured into a false sense that he's not doing much, and then all of a sudden he produces an absolute jaffa.
You wouldn't necessarily associate Steve Harmison with a delicate touch, more with a thickish edge. Still, it was going very well for Ashley Giles and Harmison, who had put on 29 together when lunch eventually came. Giles had 33, Harmison had 10, and England could be mighty pleased with their morning's work. That's the position, 385 for 8. It wasn't long after lunch that Steve Harmison's first bit of fun of the day came to an end, nicely taken at slip. England, however, had progressed to 400, which represented good work, I think, on such a slow pitch that always offered something. The flag shouldn't have been at half-mast. It wasn't, actually. The flag had merely slipped a little, unlike England and Ashley Giles, who was still playing well and had now moved on to 49.
Ashley Giles, 50 runs and some magnificent strokes in that, let me tell you. He really has played well. Been involved with a couple of important partnerships that in the context of this match might make a huge difference. And back-to-back 50s. And that is smashed. No stopping that. It's getting worse for Zimbabwe. A rank half volley from Hondo. To be honest with you, it got what it deserved, even from a number 11.
Should be caught. He's picked him out. And an easy catch. The innings is over. Ashley Giles falls after just making his half-century. And you have to say Heath Streak has deserved to get that last wicket. 4 wickets to the Zimbabwe captain. And England all out for 416.
Yep, resourceful stuff from Ashley Giles. His innings came to a close, 50 exactly to his name, but it reflects very well on that England board with the bottom half of the list doing so well. Alex Stewart and Anthony McGrath, the men that dragged them not back into the game because they weren't out of it, but certainly dragged them to something formidable.
Big shout. That's not going to be far away and given. Darryl Hare. Third ball in Test cricket. Thank you very much. I'll have a wicket.
Congratulations all round to Richard Johnson. Came out with the bat earlier and played some glorious shots. And now he's doing what he's being paid for. Bowling straight, bowling pacey. Might be a touch high. It looks like it's hit the batsman above the knee roll. But no, just clipping the bails. Ooh, that is a fortunate call for the bowler. You do see those given not out, but Richard Johnson won't mind one little bit. He's got his first Test wicket.
The parents, often the parents are more nervous than the son doing the business in the middle. There's the reaction. That's my boy. Well, there's another big shout, and he's given it to Darryl Hare. He's in the action as well, but first Test match, who would have thought? Third, now the fourth delivery, both big LBW shouts, both given out. He's on a roll, he's got deceptive pace, he's a big man with a strong action, and all smiles.
And this was plumb, no question, right on the toe, full from Johnson, first ball, absolutely dead. That's going on to hit middle, and Richard Johnson, in his debut Test match, in his first over, is on a hat-trick. Stuart Carlisle gone first ball. Zimbabwe have now lost 2 wickets with the score on only 3. And he could become the first player in Test match cricket to get a hat-trick in his first over. Here we go.
Oh, just outside off stump. Couldn't get that straight line. The crowd have erupted in appreciation. Fantastic effort.
Well, he does bowl pretty well with his first over when he's got an England jumper on.
Big shout, and it's good enough. Dave Orchard has raised the finger, and it's a first wicket in this innings for James Anderson, and a third wicket for England.
I think we'll see Abraham on the move here. Ball hits him in line between wicket and wicket, which is why he's been given out. Just a little quicker. And just a little inside edge too. Abraham is on the back of a wrong decision from the umpire. There's the inside edge. The ball would have hit the stumps, I reckon. No, says Hawkeye. Would have gone over too. Well, I guess you have your passages, don't you? Oh, I say, tremendous effort. They're so difficult, those, because you don't really reckon on them. You feel that the ball's been squeezed by the batsman. You're taking them on a difficult side anyway. Terrific bit of cricket. All credit to Marcus Trescothick there. Very quickly and just to the inside of Trescothick. Great thing is he's in a bit of nick at slip, and that does matter.
James Anderson, not only a highly talented bowler, but he's also a quick learner too. The ball has started to swing as it's got a little older. This was the wicket of Grant Flower, just swinging a little bit away there, and a brilliant catch by Marcus Trescothick. But he just changed his position on the crease there, Anderson. You see on the left here, he's close to the stumps there, whereas on the other side here, the wicket ball, he's gone a little bit wider. And the result of that is that in the first case, we'll see the ball swing a little bit in towards, but then start to offer towards the off stump. But here on the other side, the batsman's expecting it to come like that, and then just at the end it's swung away, but he's expecting from the angle of the ball for it to come into him, and that's why he's played that shot. He's got a little edge from the outswing and been caught at slip. Good thinking by the bowler.
Beautiful. That is a beautiful piece of bowling. I reckon on the replay we'll see that that drifted into the left-hander and then cut away to find the outside edge. Beautiful, wonderful piece of bowling.
Nipped away and found the outside edge. Richard Johnson has been right on the money here, and he's bowling from a difficult end. He's into the breeze, drawn the short straw as far as ends go, but he's producing the goods. 3 for 11 now.
That's the dismissal of Sean Ervine. Ball just cutting away. It was a very, very good delivery. Just found the outside edge. Yes, and the batsman hardly bothered to wait. The appeal went up, and I think he knew he was gone. And this is one of the more dramatic days you would see in any test match, let alone at a ground holding its first test match.
What a debut for Richard Johnson. He gets in so close to the stumps. Hit the batsman just in line with middle and off, and would have gone on to hit middle and off. Another fine delivery, pacey, pitched up, and most importantly on target. Another duck.
A bit high. Couldn't have been much in it. There's always the chance of an inside edge, but otherwise it was perilously close.
May have been a touch high as well. Well, if there was an inside edge, it came after the ball hit the pad. On that occasion, the batsman getting the benefit of the doubt. But just how long will it be?
And not playing a stroke. His streak gone, LBW. Well, Johnson was in no doubt. He was in the perfect position to see, apart from the umpire, that is. And he was around there shouting for it the moment his streak padded up.
His streak decided not to play a shot against Richard Johnson. The ball did come back a little bit. And Hawkeye shows that it would have gone on to just flick the outside of the off stump. .35 for 7 now, Zimbabwe, and Johnson has 5 for.
Oh, dear, dear, dear. Great stroke from Ray Price. Just let the ball come to him and whipped it away. And already these two have shown certainly more gumption, and it has to be said, a deal more quality than plenty that's gone before. .63 for 8 at present, the Zimbabweans. Their lowest ever total is 63 all out against the West Indies at the Port of Spain just 3 years ago. In that game, they were chasing less than 100 for victory and collapsed to 63 all out. Disastrous for them. Tremendous strike. Goodness me, what a confident young man he is. Brilliant sense of adventure and ability to take the opposition on, even in this hopeless position. Oh, that's even better. It wasn't especially short, and he modelled himself on Tendulkar. Tendulkar will be pleased with that, very pleased. Well, you just felt that it had to be. It's the problem area for Taibu. All credit to Richard Johnson, who worked his man out and won a little personal battle.
Very close indeed. In fact, there goes the nod, there goes the finger, and that is the end of Zimbabwe's first innings. 94 all out. Harmison picks up the last wicket. Ray Price, another LBW. Goodness me, we've had the umpire's finger going up for LBWs left, right and centre in the Zimbabwe innings. Most of them to Richard Johnson. This time it's Steve Harmison. Anderson 2 for 30, Harmison 2 for 22, but the story of the day, Richard Johnson on debut, 6 wickets for only 33 off 12 overs, and all those overs into the breeze.
England have been forced to follow up.
The destroyer of Zimbabwe has a fairly simple approach to bowling. He has a short run-up, a robust body action, and he delivers a ball from fairly close to the stumps, angling it in towards the right-handed batsman. That's his main delivery. He doesn't try and do too much with the ball. This is the wicket of Taibu, which shows his stock delivery, which is bowled from close to the stumps and just angled in towards the stumps here. And the batsman gets a bit caught up and trapped in front. That was a typical wicket from Johnson today. And what's been noticeable about his bowling also has been his consistency of length. Always around about good length, or just short of a good length. All those black dots are his wickets. One there a little bit fuller, but the most also noticeable thing is that he hasn't ever strayed onto the leg side here. He's kept his line consistently around the off stump and just outside. Strong body action, and what a sparkling day for Johnson and Johnson and Johnson.
Just a wicket away, Richard Johnson, from the best first innings figures by an Englishman on debut. Above him, J.K. Lever, Alec Bedser, Jim Laker. 6 for 33 here at Chesley Street against Zimbabwe on debut for Richard Johnson.
Less than 3 hours since the last time these two walked to the wicket. They were doing it again, and Mark Vermeulen is in danger of 2 noughts in the same day.
First ball. Unbelievable. Mark Vermeulen was dismissed in the first innings for a duck. Off only 3 balls. He's done even worse. Out first ball, caught in the gully. He's bagged a pair in a day. Zimbabwe lose their first wicket with the score on only 5. Got through. He's off for pair, Stuart Carlisle. Splitting the 2 gullies. He'll feel just a little bit better.
Well, that came out of the blue. We were thinking that Stuart Carlisle was playing for stumps, which is not all that far away, and he smashed Giles straight down the ground. An opportunity, if you crowd him, if he's going to hit down the ground, of having him hole out. It's a nice stroke. Good way to finish the over.
And 41 for 1 was how the day ended. 2 very happy men. Great to see new cricketers performing well. Richard Johnson, of course, had a very, very special day. That's how the match stands. England absolutely all-powerful, leading by 281.
Four runs, bit of a streaky edge, but safe enough, and it brings up the Zimbabwe 50.
Spectators still coming in here on the 3rd day of this match. It's said to be a sellout, and you couldn't have more perfect conditions for it. That's one of the reasons James Anderson is a good prospect. We haven't seen much of him. He's only a relative newcomer. But every so often he produces one of those, an absolute sizzler.
Quite interesting to watch Stuart Carlisle's feet movement. Just watch his back foot here. Normally a batsman's back foot would go across to off stump. Carlisle's, if anything, just goes outside leg stump as his front foot comes across, which means he's slightly blocked off to the bowler and makes him very vulnerable to an LBW decision early on in his innings.
The shout there was because it hit pad before bat. Well, definitely worth an enormous shout, an even bigger one than they gave. Well, I think it might just have carried either that or would be the half volley.
Giles is a good man to have in this position at 3rd slip because he is left-handed, and that ball definitely carried.
Justice for James Anderson. That is an outstanding spell of bowling, culminating in the wicket. Just before that, the drop chance. Carlisle has gone, and it was a clever piece of bowling because he's been taking the ball away from the right-handers. That one came back and had Carlisle just pushing at it.
The reason why this ball carries so far is Stuart Carlisle pushes very hard on the front foot. This was a big, thick inside edge. He's gone for 28. James Anderson picks up his first wicket of the morning. Zimbabwe 65 for 2.
Big shout. His delivery. Grant Flower was going to let that ball go, and that's the mode he plays Test cricket in. Too negative. He needs to be more assertive out there, looking to score shots. The ball really did angle back at him, but that's out.
This was the dismissal of Heath's streak in the first innings, deciding in error to let this one go, thrusting his pad out. Was the right decision, but it was touch and go. Grant Flower used to be an opening batsman, as you can see, 84 innings, the start of his career. In that position, with a relatively healthy average of 29, that's his overall career, just about. But he's been shuffled up and down the order over the years, and never seemed to have settled to any other position with the ease that he seemed to have settled, opening the batting.
Good shot through the covers. All it has to do here at Riverside is split the gap, and it will run away from 4.
Very fine shot. Richard Johnson honing in on the pad, searching for the LBW. He's found the middle of Grant Flower's bat. In the gap, but should be pulled in by Michael Vaughan. It does pick up pace, though, and it's raced away.
We've been waiting on a sunny day, and we've got one with a quick outfield and a very brave little 50 from Dion Abraham. He's a fighter, that's for sure.
Fine shot, just a touch short from Johnson, and the width allowed Grant Flower to dispatch that ball to the cover boundary. Fine shot. Very fast hands from Dion Ibrahim, and that boundary brings up the 100 for Zimbabwe.
That looks as plumb as you will see. Well, there's no movement from the batsman yet. He's disturbed that the ball perhaps didn't get up as much as he thought, but Steve Harmison has rolled him.
Well, we see once again there's a technical issue the Zimbabwe batsmen have to work on. It's this constant looking to hit the ball through mid-wicket to the straighter deliveries. That bat coming down at the wrong angle. Should be looking to play that a lot straighter. It's almost as though he didn't pick the ball up or something. He was late in his reaction. An easy decision for the umpire. Means now Zimbabwe are 102 for 3. Gutsy performance though from Ibrahim, 55 runs.
very well bowled. Johnson has a bit of zip into that delivery.
This placid Durham pitch has been a useful experiment for England's inexperienced young attack, and you can certainly see James Anderson trying to work a batsman over, concentrating just outside off stump with that little bit of outswing, then going wide of the crease here to try and get Grant Flower like he did in the first innings and failing. But Nasser Hussain really approving the enthusiasm and the explosiveness of James Anderson, and also the excellent seam position he produces there, similar to Jason Gillespie of Australia, seam up, looking to try and move the ball away. Johnson, Richard Johnson, on the other hand, is generally trying to angle the ball in. He doesn't vary his approach quite as much as Anderson. He concentrates on the same kind of thing, ball after ball, hitting the pitch hard with strong shoulder action, and occasionally one will just leave the bat off the seam. Now, Steve Harmison, on the other hand, doesn't seem to have quite such an effective bowling strategy. He isn't able to build up the same kind of pressure on batsmen during an over. He tends to stray down the leg side, the odd ball climbing from short of a length, but then tending to release the pressure with little singles allowed onto the leg side. But as a three, they're a good combination. James Anderson looking to swing it away, Steve Harmison with the steep bounce, and Richard Johnson angling the ball in. They're a good combination on this kind of placid pitch. They need to try and build up the pressure, bowling maiden overs and trying to make the scoring runs hard for Zimbabwe. Certainly Anderson and Johnson have done that. Notice the maidens they've bowled there. 4 maidens for Anderson and 5 for Johnson. No wickets yet for Johnson, 2 for Anderson. Harmison, no, only 1 maiden and 1 for 26. He hasn't been able to build up the pressure, and so far Zimbabwe have made a better fist of it this morning, 113 for 3.
That's probably come off the elbow or the arm guard, I imagine. There's a lot of shouting and yelling went on there.
Excellent decision off the arm. It was quite close to the bat as well, but definitely no contact with bat or gloves.
Appeal one ball and then the dismissal the next, and it looked as though the ball kept a bit low. Not a shooter by any means, but James Anderson has got through straight after lunch, and he has had a great day with the ball.
Always a possibility on a slow wicket where the ball stays down a bit, the drag on, inside edge, back onto the stumps. Flower gone for 16, Zimbabwe 113 for 4.
Well, that's 2 he's put down. Difficult ones each time, but still goes down as drop chances.
It's the kind of chance that you dream of snaring and pulling in. It went very quickly.
Catch!
That's out. Nice bit of bowling from Ashley Giles, a bit of extra flight. And Taibu's inexperience found out there, the forward lunge with bat and pad together, fatal.
He's been accused of bowling too flat at times, Giles, but clearly comes off the face of the bat. Well caught by Butcher.
Travis Friend is the new batsman. He comes in on a pair. We've already seen one of those. Mark Vermeulen was the guy who suffered that ignominy. Here's Ashley Giles. Oh! Good start. Ooh, that's a cracker of a ball. Travis Friend's away. What a relief. Phew. Not a good sight for Zimbabwe. 132 for 5. Approaching the middle point of the afternoon on a gloriously sunny day. Full house in here at the Riverside in Durham. And Zimbabwe unable to do themselves justice. How in the world is that missed? Well, if it's hit the pad full on, it's a tight call. Whether there was a double noise and a hint of bat there, whether or not the ball was drifting down the leg side, I just suspect there was enough doubt for Darrell Hare to say no.
This is very close. Ashley Giles was able to straighten that delivery. My finger's gone up. And gone. Same way as Grant Flower. Inside edge, back onto the stumps. And you will see dismissals like that on slow pitches. The difference being, though, Ervine wasn't committed to the stroke. It almost looked like he was trying to drag his bat out of the way at the last moment. Disappointment for Zimbabwe.
Yeah, indecision here for Sean Ervine was his downfall. Wasn't sure whether to play or leave. In the end, he just hung the bat out there. And the ball cannoned off the inside edge. The second drag on of the innings, the end of Sean Ervine for 34.
Well, that was nicely fielded. No, he'd have been gone. Oh, that is the toughest way to get out. It's the toughest way you can ever get out. It doesn't go to the credit of Steve Harmison nor his wife.
Well, he had the misfortune of dropping the caught and bowled chance. Relief on his face to find Heath Streak stranded. Heath Streak departs for 3 in an unfortunate manner.
It's up in the air. What a catch. That's the captain leading by example. Nasser Hussain has made a lot of ground. And then the full-length dive and the end of Andy Blicknow.
2 wickets to go for England. Powerful back foot drive from Travis Friend. Impressive stroke, impressive innings. That brings up his 50.
That's the good thing about Harmison, that bounce. And so he does the job that Nasser Hussain brought him back into the attack for. That sort of line, and a little bit fuller, and a few of those in a career will bring him much success.
And that is as good a Yorker as you'll see in international cricket. That is the finish of the Zimbabwean second innings. Douglas Hondo has gone. Harmison has picked him up. 253 all out with Travis Friend 65 and unbeaten. And just about a capacity crowd here today at Durham, the inaugural Test match, and England have won it by an innings and 69.